So welcome to our first episode of, I think for now we're going to call it the Witsup Podcast Debrief, but I'm hoping you guys might be able to come up with another name because I'm fastly running out of ideas at the moment. But we kind of came up with this idea because for me, when I finish recording the podcast, then I have to edit it and then publish it, promote it and everything. But I always find that I never get to actually debrief with anyone about it. And I really miss that, particularly now that we're kind of in lockdown at the moment. I don't get that to and fro about what about this part when this happened and what did you think about what you learned about this athlete? And I was thinking about it the other day and I thought, who is the perfect person in all of the lands to discuss and debrief about each episode? And the person that jumped straight into my mind is none other than Steph Corker, my friend who I call with so much affection, Corky Corkerson. So welcome to the Witsup Podcast Debrief, Chit Chat, whatever we're going to call it.
I think Chit Chat Bish Bosh could be the name.
Witsup Podcast Chit Chat Bish Bosh.
That's like a combination of something around the world, isn't it, Steph?
I think we've covered all bases. I mean, let us know if we haven't. And everyone needs to know the reason that the Witsup Podcast comes out weekly and from remote locations, and we chat to people all across the globe, is because of this woman here. She's the one that convinced me that we needed to do it this way.
Well, I'm honored, and I think that it's really fun that we have been chatting so much, especially during COVID and in opposite, places in the world. You're obviously down under and I'm in Canada, and your name is missing a letter and I have a PH. So it's a perfect combination. I also think we're both very passionate about behind the scenes of triathlon. And so we both bring a lot of heart to this conversation. And I'm really, really stoked that I got to be the lucky one to have these chit chat bish boshes with you.
I love it. So, okay, you said Steph, it's Steph from Down Under, which is fine. No, that's fine. Everyone, no, I'm not offended. No, I'm trying to think, what can we say about Canada? So we're Down Under, you're up over. Is that right?
Well, we are known as the True North, strong and free in Canada.
Oh, Steph from Down Under and Steph from True North. I was going to say land of the free, but that's the States, isn't it? And you're definitely not from the States.
I've been training you for about 24 months.
Oh, goodness.
I am not American.
Everyone, Steph Corky Corkerson Corker is very much a Canadian. So let's crack on. Well, this is sort of an intro to this series. So we're not going to talk about just the latest episode. What I want to find out from you is, what's some of the highlights from the Witsup podcast over the years that stick out to you?
Yeah, I love this question. You did give me a bit of a brief so I could think about this ahead of time. And the reason I love it is because when you committed to publishing more podcasts, or the reason I wanted you to publish more is because I thought you are generating such incredible content that we really want to hear. Can you please not let being in person get in the way of telling these stories? And what I will share with you from Canada is that you provide a lens and an access point to a lot of athletes that we don't hear about all the time in North America. And so it really feels like you're the voice of the Asia Pacific. I mean, of course you cover everyone, but specifically you dive really deeply into the Asia Pacific and even European, for that matter, talent. And so I love that. I love that you do cover Ironman and 70.3 athletes, but you also keep the Olympic stream athletes, the Paralympians, the incredible amateurs of our sport all in the conversation. And that feels super important and so inclusive, definitely. I love that you love ribbing on specific triathlon related stories, and it's never only triathlon context. So I want to know about the whole person. I want to know about so much more. I mean, you want to know about people's favorite movies and TV shows. I don't, but you're really good at that. And I won't lie that Felix from Challenge Roth really took my heart. What a guy. And those are the stories you get. Those are the types of conversations. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to ask this because I've been on your podcast, but do you have a favorite?
Well, obviously you are one of my favorites for many reasons. And it's so hard to answer because every single one of them is so different. And I kind of joke about this each time I launch an episode or have a chat with someone, is that I don't like doing too much research because I like to see where the conversation goes. And I never want to sort of assume anything. So, I mean, that's a bit of a inside trader knowledge, is that, you know, when I do say something like, oh, how many brothers and sisters do you have? A lot of the times I probably know, but I don't want to always be the one telling the story, you know, so I always want to put it back onto the other person. But in terms of favorites, I mean, ones that stand out, the funniest person who in triathlon, hands down, the funniest person without knowing that she's funny is Jess Learmonth. Out of control, ridiculous, funny, laid back, just, I actually couldn't believe what she was saying or understand half of what she was saying either. I think the funny ones always stick out for me. But one of the, I guess, that really hit in the feels was the recent one, Emma Jeffcoat. Her story about being in hospital as a kid and nearly dying several times hit me hard while we were chatting, but then even harder when my best mate, Boz, texted me saying that he was in tears listening to it. And just automatically I was like, oh, I can't remember you having problems as a kid, like thinking he was in hospital as a kid. But no, it was because his son Sam spent months in hospital when he was around 1, because it's a long story, but his hand had got burnt by an IV drip not being put in there properly, and he had to have, surgery. And anyway, when he texted me, as horrible as that story is, I was just like, these are the kind of stories that you get to tell and really touch people. And it makes me think so often how many people are out there and it's really resonating with them and we're not aware of. And I think that's just incredible.
Yeah. I will also share that recording podcasts are very vibrational. It's so exciting to have these conversations, and you really never know the ripple or where the vibration will go. Or, you know, in your case, because you don't necessarily know where the conversation will go, you don't know what might come up. And so I'm really excited to riff on these right after you record, because I think it will be so fun to get the behind the scenes and just to see you and hear right from you in your vibrational state before it goes to edit.
Oh, I like that. Me in my vibrational state. That is definitely like...
Yeah. Yes. You know.
Any others that really stand out to you? It's weird because, you know, some of our first ones were some of my favourite people on the planet. Mirinda Carfrae, Lizzie Blatchford. But I feel like they were so long ago and I was so new to recording podcasts back then that the quality is rubbish. The content's always going to be great because I've got good relationships with them. But I feel like I want to have another chat with them again. Because also since then, they've had kids. I've had a kid. Like, so much has changed. Their view on life may have changed as well. Can you ever remember, you know, way back when, before we started doing it so regularly?
Gosh, who can I remember? I mean, what I would tell you with all the love in my heart, I actually think some of the in-person quality wasn't even as good as what you've progressed it to be now. So I love where you've gone to. And I would just say that you've continued to evolve really beautifully and the content is there as well. if I'm honest, I feel like there aren't many people you haven't had on your show. And I do get your podcast. It sometimes blurs in my brain with some of the 74 questions that you've done, which are YouTube's, which also feel like interview-esque style, but different. And those have been great. Sarah True's comes to mind as being a really cool one. Steph, I don't feel like there are many people you haven't, especially female athletes, that you haven't spoken to. So
yeah,
you've really covered the bases. I mean, I wonder if there are specific folks that people want to hear from that haven't.
Yeah, it's such a good point, because one of the things I've definitely realised is that, and I think I really realised it with Emma Jeffcoat, because she's known in Australia, but still she's not, I'd say she's not as high profile as, say, an Ash Gentle as an example. And I think from memory, we were her first ever podcast, which astounded me.
Wow.
I think I might have got that wrong. But it made me go, wow, like I had no idea the story she was going to tell me. And it's one of my favorite episodes. So I feel like there's so many athletes out there that we can really give them a great platform for people to really get to know who they are. And that's what I'm excited about. As much as I love chatting to the high profile ones as well, what stories do we get to uncover? And I'd really love to hear from our members, anyone who, I mean, there's so many athletes out there that we can talk to. And as you know, we're also introducing the Raw series as well, which is going to cover a whole bunch of different topics. And then, we spoke to Felix recently. So it could be a race director. It could be a coach.
That's what I was just going to say. Your body image episode.
Oh, with Helen from Inside Track.
That was beautiful. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Really important conversation.
Yep.
And you mentioned coach, and I was just going to say, I'm so passionate. I mean, of course, I'm so passionate about the sport of triathlon, and I'm so aware that it's not an individual sport. And so who are the managers and who are the coaches? I'm really interested in female coaches. I'm really interested in how athletes are managing sponsorship. And is it themselves or is it someone else? And what is it like? What are all of those, relationships like? I wonder if anyone's interested in that.
Ooh, well, that's a great point. Maybe we'll put it to you guys. Are you interested in hearing those kind of things? I find it fascinating as well. Behind the scenes stuff really floats my boat. And I guess particularly right now in such a tough position the world's in at the moment, what does that actually look like? Because it's not as simple. I think we look at it from a surface level. Oh, there's no racing, but what is the flow-on effect of that on professional athletes and coaches and managers?
Totally.
Yeah. All right, my friend. I did say to you off screen, we'd like to try and keep this to about 10 minutes. We're a few minutes over, but this is the intro. Like, we're covering lots of bases.
Yeah, I mean, it's 10 minutes plus or minus 10 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so this is going to become a weekly thing, guys. So if you have any questions or comments or anyone who you think would be great on the Witsup podcast, please just let us know. This is just for our members. So thank you so much for becoming Witsup Patron members. We really appreciate it. And to be completely honest, we would not survive without your support. So we greatly appreciate that from all of you guys out there. Steph Corkerson, I love you.
Peace from Canada.
See you guys.